It's so arbitrary. I don't know.
Except that you're asserting it's non-material, which I would say is supernatural.
So then is quantum entanglement supernatural because it doesn't happen in space-time? It violates the speed of light.
I don't know.
Is consciousness supernatural?
I don't know.
Well, then there you go. If you're just going to say, I don't know, I'm going to say that...
And I'm not just saying I don't know. I'm saying I don't know and you don't either, but you seem to be claiming that you do.
How do you know I don't know?
I don't know that you don't know.
I would agree with you. Anybody who says the laws of logic don't require justification has adopted a burden of proof that I don't know how they could ever meet, and certainly nobody's ever done it. Saying they don't require it is a claim. Saying I'm not convinced they do is not a claim that they don't.
The Dillahunty Dodge, the viral description used to explain Matt Dillahuntys' debate tactic. The truth is, it's actually one or a combination of fallacies hidden under the facade of a rhetorical ploy called the pregnant negative. Now, for those that don't know what the pregnant negative is, it's a way of implying something without saying it, as to avoid dealing with consequences for the implications of it. So, in this respect, in all of Matt's discussions with theists, the debate will naturally flow from the consequences of both these answers to the philosophical question, does God exist? Theism, yes. Atheism, no. Now, some of these consequences are obvious. If theism is the belief in a personal, interactive, creative God behind the influence of the universe, and atheism is without that, then some of the debate topics might circle around materialism versus immaterial, objective morality versus subjective, and so on. Instead of Matt taking a position or making a case to logically justify the implications of his conclusion, he denies having an answer and appeals to ignorance on the issue. But here's where it gets interesting. We all would agree that if you don't know the answer to something, the honest thing to do is to say that you don't know, and not just make something up to be justified. But remember, Matt is an atheist. It's not a neutral answer to the question, does God exist? Regardless of if one would like to use the colloquial term lack of belief in God or gods. Simply put, Matt's description of his atheism being a lack of belief in God or gods needs to be justified by dealing with the evidence provided. Otherwise, he commits a fallacy known as the invincible ignorance fallacy, or argument from pigheadedness. This describes a refusal to accept a well-proven argument for one of many reasons related to stubbornness. It can also be a refusal to argue about the claim that one supports. This fallacy also underlines the error in subjective dismissal. Simply put, a personal statement of not being convinced is redundant and irrelevant in debate. For example, a theist can respond with, I'm unconvinced you are justified in remaining unconvinced. Neither party is the judge or jury in declaring truth through conjectural responses. There are actually 4 factors to determine truth in a theory or philosophical discussion: congruence, consistency, coherence, and usefulness. The problem is what's been seen from Matt in his discussions with Jay Dyer and Matt Slick in response to the evidence. He avoids dealing with the consequences of it. In fact, he says he doesn't need accountability because he presupposes them. This is referred to a fallacy of ad hoc reasoning. And the best simplified description of this is when you come up with excuses or justifications for a belief on the fly without concern for the validity of the argument, basically making stuff up to avoid admitting you are wrong. I think what is obvious is that Matt's whole angle is to really be evasive. His goal is to promote atheism, but because of all of the flaws that follow his conclusion of atheism, he attempts to hide in the facade of neutrality, or better, agnosticism, all while alluding to why the arguments of God fail, while carefully at times not outright making the claim. Regardless, an analysis of how he treats the arguments provided should be the only thing you acknowledge, and if willful ignorance is apparent, well, you now understand a little better the Dillahunty Dodge.